All right, everyone. In this video, we are going to talk about parametric designs. And what I have here is a die that we're going to be doing, a D6 die. And we're going to make this thing fully parametric, which means that we can change one parameter and everything changes. Now, the die we're looking at here first is actually not done as a parametric drawing. It is all set up with dimensions, and we know where all the dimensions are. But if we were to change one parameter, for instance, this is right now a 10 millimeter die. Let's say I wanted this thing to be 50 millimeters. It would look something like this. And this thing is all out of shape, which is not what we want. Compared to a fully parametric, which if I did the exact same thing and changed it to 50 millimeters, this one, it does have everything that changed with the sizes. Our pip changes size, everything looks like it's in the right spot. And this is what we're about to create. So let's go ahead and close these two. And we'll start from scratch. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to move over here to our planning stage. I've already created an isometric sketch of what we're going to do. So let's go ahead and write down what parameters it is that we know that we're going to need. First off, before I get into this too much, as you can see, it's an isometric sketch that I did. You'll all be doing these for yourself moving forward. And our number one here, I'm going to do a regular pip, which if you don't know what pips are, they are little dots on the die. You will be doing a custom pip, so don't just do a single dot. All right, so what is it that we know that we need? First off, our dimensions right here to here, these are going to be the same, consistent throughout the whole die. So I need to know what that is. So I'm going to write down here, die size, die underscore size. When we do parameters in Fusion, all of the names have to be a single word, so I use underscore a lot. And I know that I'm going to set this thing up at a 20 millimeter die. Very good. Sorry for the angle, but it's where my camera is. The next thing that I need is my pip size. How big are these little pips? And for that, instead of giving it a hard number, I'm actually going to say it's going to be my die size. Die size divided by 5. I'll make it 1/5 of my die size will be the size of these pips. Next, my pip depth is going to equal the same. I'm having the same size as pip size, and I could put in here pip size, but I'm actually going to do everything off of die size. It makes it a little bit more adjustable if I need to go back and change things later. And since I want these things to cut into the die as opposed to coming out of it, it's going to be a negative. So I'm going to do negative parentheses die size. Die size divided by 5. Close parentheses. That's my pip depth. Next, my taper angle. I want these things to taper into little cones going in as opposed to just having cylinders go in. So I'm going to call this one my taper angle. Taper underscore angle. And I am going to give this one a hard-coded number of 45 degrees. But because I do not want these things to be going kind of counter, I want the cones to go into the point, it is going to be negative. So negative 45 degrees. And then I'm going to have my edge fillet. Edge fillet. And that is going to equal, I'm not exactly sure. So let's do this. Let's do the die size. We're going to do 1/20th of it. So we'll see if that's a good start. I don't think it is, but we can always change it, which will be a good time for me to change or show you how to make these changes. So die size divided by 20. Very good. So that is my planning right here. Let's switch back to Fusion real quick. All right, I have my document open. Let me check my document settings real quick. I am going to work in millimeters. Typically, I work in inches. So I'm going to flip this over to millimeters because that's how we're going to do our die. And I'm going to now go with rule number 1 of Fusion, which is to create a component and name it and save it. Rule number 1 of Fusion. Now I'm going to call this one D6 die. Happy with that. So I now have a component. It's been named. I'm going to save this thing. I'll call this thing Parametric D6. I'll put my name to it. Yeah. Very good. So I now have this file going. All right, with my focus on the component, let's go ahead and create our die. Or no, before we create our die, I almost messed that up already. We need to create all of our parameters that we just wrote down. So here we go. User parameters, I'm coming over here to the plus. I'm going to create the first one, which is going to be my die size, die_size. This is in millimeters, which is what I'm happy with, and I said it was going to be 20 millimeters. And I'm going to make myself a comment. This is the number at most dimensions will be based off of. This is also the size of the die. And what that does is it allows it for if someone's coming behind me, they can read this comment and say, what did he do here? So there we go. Next one, and I'm gonna actually, since this is one that can easily change a lot, I'm gonna come over here to my user parameters, this little star, I'm gonna click it, it's now a favorite. So it's gonna sit up top for me. My next one is my pip size. Pip size. My pip size, again, is in millimeters, and the expression for it, just like you do in Excel, except if you don't put the equal sign in front of it, I can start typing die size. Well, I've already determined what die size is, so it shows up as a suggestion in front of me. I'm just going to press enter so I don't have to hit it or type everything. And I'm going to do divided by, it's turning red because it's not a valid expression yet. 5, now it is a valid expression. You can see a value showed up. So I'm happy with that. My comment, this is the size of the pips. Very good. Next, I'm going to make another one. The next one is my pip depth. Pip depth. Again, I'm going with names that are very expressive, so that I now know if I were to go back and say, hey, what parameter is it I really need? I could just look at the names. They make sense. So my pip depth was negative, open parentheses, die size divided by 5, close parentheses. Now, this is the depth of the pips. Very good. Next one, my taper angle. Come here. Taper underscore angle. Now my taper angle is actually going to be in degrees. So I'm going to come over here. My units are now degrees. And I said that was going to be negative 45. And because I am hard coding this one in, let me put this in here. This is the inside angle of the pips. There you go. Since this is something that I'm hard coding in, I may have to change it occasionally. I'm going to go ahead and set that as a favorite as well. So now I have 2 things up there. And then my last one was my fillet underscore, edge fillet, that's what I called it, sorry. Edge underscore fillet. We are in millimeters, and that thing is going to be my die size divided by, and I believe I said 20. This is the edge fillet for the die. There we go. Now, if you happen to notice in here, anything that I've hard coded in, for me, I just went ahead and put up in favorites. Everything down here, I don't expect to really change it that much. I expect it to work off of what I've programmed in. So I'll leave those down there. I could put them all up in favorites, whatever, but this is where I want. I have this thing to automatically update, so we're good to go. All right, let's create our die. First step, again, we're in our component here. We're going to create a sketch. Now, I know you're saying, You could create a box here. I don't like doing that. I prefer to create off of sketches. It gives me a lot more control. I'm not a huge fan of primitives. All right, so which direction do we want to put this thing? I'm going to be in a 3D printer, which means I'm going to work off of my XY plane. I can see right here, I'm looking at my X and Z. X is red according to up here at my view cube. The blue over here is Z, which means my green is going to be my Y, which means that makes that my XY plane. Another way I can go at this, I'll come over here to my origin, and I can start hovering over until I see what I want, my XY, and there it is. I can click on it, and we're good to go with our two-dimensional sketch. I'm going to create a rectangle, 2-point rectangle, off my origin. Always try to work off the origin if possible. And instead of just clicking here, I've clicked once to start it, but instead of doing a second click, I'm just going to go ahead and type in here that I want to use my die size. I'm going to hit tab, and I'm going to do the same thing here. Die size, tab. Now my sizes are locked in. I am good to go. I'm going to click, and there we go. Everything is locked in. I am black all around the edges because it's fully constrained. I have a blue inside because it is fully enclosed. I'm happy with this. Finish the sketch. Now let's go ahead and go back to my sketches here. Rule number 2 of Fusion, name everything. This is my die, my sketch. We're going to extrude this thing. What am I extruding? I'm extruding this profile. The distance is going to be my die size. I'm not going to have any taper. I want this to be a new body. It'll be inside of my component here, so I'm happy with that. And there we go. I now have that. I'm going to come over here to my bodies, and I am going to name this. This is my D6. Actually, D6 die might be a little bit better. Whatever you want to put in here, D6 die. I like that better. There you go. All right, now let's go ahead and create our sketches for our pips. Once I show you the first one, if you want to jump ahead until you get all of them done, feel free, but I will go through the whole process here. So I'm going to create a sketch. I'm going to do it over here on the side. You can see it showed up here, sketch 2. I'm going to name this thing real quick, and I'll call this thing side 5. All right, so on side 5, I'm going to grab construction line. I'm going to grab a line. There we are. Say it's construction line. And I'm going to draw a set of 6 lines, just connecting the top to the bottom. I'm happy. I could go to the middle, but I'm going to choose not to, and I'll show you why here in a second. Doesn't matter on this one, not really. It's just the way I work. So there we go. Nice horizontal and perpendicular lines. To kind of show you something, if you happen to hit the edge, you notice I'm turning to X's here. But let's say this thing gets a weird angle too. You can see it by it showing up there at the top at an angle. It will not work for your regular dimensioning. So if you happen to get some type of angles or you're wondering, come up here to your constraints, your horizontal verticals. If it needs one, you can click on it. It now shows up here. If it didn't need one, you get a little arrow showing here in the bottom right. Yep, we are good to go. So it's an easy way if you want to check all these things. And it looks like we are good to go with everything else. Good. Press escape to get out of here. My dimension tool. I'm not going to click up here very much after this because I use the letter D. It's the quick shortcut, but that's my dimension tool. I'm going to go from this edge to here, and I'm going to call this one my die size divided by 4. And what that's going to do is it's going to give me 4 equal sections, which is what I want. So I'll come here to here. Again, die size divided by 4. I'm sure there's some people that say that'll go crazy and say, hey, you should have gone all off the same edge. Yeah, probably I could have, but I am doing it this way. I could have also, instead of saying the whole equation, I could have turned around and said, excuse me, that this one here is equal to this one. But I choose to actually type these things out because it gives me a little bit more it gives me a little bit more control over the individual dimensions as opposed to making them work in pairs. So this one here, I want to go here to here, and this one is going to be my die size divided by 2. Going back to the other thing, do whichever way really makes you happy. This is just the way I like to work. So, oops, there we go. This is again my die size divided by 4. Die size divided by 2. And die size divided by 4. And you're gonna notice that all of these, I've kind of put them on two different edges here as opposed to putting them all over the place. It just makes it easier for me to locate these things. I'm gonna turn my construction lines off, press escape, and now let's go ahead and create our circles. For the 5, I'm going to need one at this intersection, this intersection, this intersection, that one, and that one. So go ahead and click or get your cursor over the intersection. You're going to see it's going to snap to it. You can have that little blue X in there and create some circles. It does not matter what size your circles are. Go crazy with this if you like, whatever. They're circles. Very good. That looks kind of funny. But anyway, now let's go ahead and dimension this thing. Again, I'm going to press D, and I'm going to grab this one over here, and I'm going to say this one is my pip size. Enter, enter, and again, this is why it did not matter what size you made your circles, because when we go through and put the dimension in, it's going to make these all that exact same size that we put in there before in our properties. I'm going to have to put this one here. Size and size. Very good. So now everything is fully constrained. I'm happy with that. I have everything set where I want it to be. I can finish my sketch. I'm going to turn this a little bit so you can see what's getting ready to happen. I am now going to come over here to my extrude tool, and I want to select these 4 circles. 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 circles. There we go. And I'm going to come over here to my window. I could do it down here, but I'm just going to do it over here in my window. My distance I've actually set already as pip depth. If I can hit that as enter, you can see the cone showing up. I'm cutting in because I had that negative depth. And I'm gonna hit tab, and my taper angle is what I called it. Taper underscore angle. And now they turn to cones as opposed to cylinders. Say okay, and there it is. All right, so at this point, I'm going to go ahead and do the other sides. Feel free to watch me, work alongside with me if you want, or fast forward to the point where I start to work on edges. So here we go. Opposite side of the 5. By the way, on a D6, when you move these things around, whatever's on the opposite side is the number of sides plus 1. So the opposite side of 5 is going to be 2. So this is going to be over here, side 2. I'm going to grab my line tool because it's going to be a construction line. Come down, come down. And for the 2 one, I only need 4 of these things. That'll give me my intersections. So I'm happy with that. My distance, here to here. I'm going to go die size divided by, let's go 3. Don't know if I like that. I'll probably be changing that here in a little bit, which is a good thing for us to go back and look at. Die size divided by 3. Go. Die size divided by 3. And here, die size divided by 3. Yeah, I know I'm not going to like this, but we will change it later. All right, turn construction lines back off. Grab my circle. I need 2 of these. I'm going to dimension this thing out. And this is going to be pip size. Pip size. Happy with that. Finish my sketch. Extrude here, here. Distance is pip depth. And taper angle is taper angle. Yeah, we'll change that later. All right, so that's my 5 and my 2. Let's do 4 and 3 next. So over here, this is side 4. I'm going to create my construction lines. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go dimension these things out. 1 here. This is die size divided by 4. Again, I don't think I like that because it didn't look good on my two sides. It's probably going to look bad on this side as well, but we'll fix it later. Divided by 4. These two. Die size divided by 4. These two. Die size divided by 4. There we are. Construction lines off. Circle. Put my 4 circles in. There we go. Dimension again. This is pip size. Pip size. Pip size. And pip size. There we go. Everything is dimensioned. We are good to go. Finish sketch. Extrude 1, 2, 3, 4. My distance is pip depth. Oops. I did not want to press enter there. So I'm going to come back into my history. I just double clicked on it. And my taper angle is taper angle. There we go. 4 side is done, which means I'm now over here to my 3 side. This is side 3. This one here, I need all 6 of them again. Oops. Construction line tool. There we go. And the reason I knew I wasn't in construction line, obviously, these are dashed and they show up orange, as opposed to being that solid line that showed up. All right. Very good. Dimension here to here. Die size divided by 3, or 4, sorry. 4. Here to here. Die size divided by 4. Nope. Divided by 2. Double click that, get back in. There we go. Over here to here is die size divided by 4. Up top. Die size divided by 4. Other edge. Die size divided by 4. And then here. Die size divided by 2. Let's line things up a little bit better. Just in case you're a little OCD like I am about that. And we're good to go. All right. Our construction lines off. Circles. This is my 3 side. So 1, 2, 3. Dimension. Puts up here, I guess. Pip size. Pip size. And pip size. There we go. That over there instead. Put them all together. There we go. I now have my 3 side. I can extrude this. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Distance is pip depth. Tab. Taper angle. That. Enter. All right. My 3 side is done. Now I'm to my 6 and my 1. New sketch. Over here. This is going to be side 6. Construction line. Line tool. Let's get our construction lines put in. Wish I had a good joke to tell y'all here. Sorry, I don't. Here we go. I probably didn't need the middle one. Actually, I know I didn't need the middle one. Here we go. Let's just get rid of it because it's in the way. There we go. Dimension here to here. By size divided by 4, like we've done before. Here to here. By size divided by 4. Here to here. By size divided by 3. 4. Should have done 3 before, shouldn't I have? Well, by size divided by 2. And by size divided by 4. And I can go back through and change these things, but I'm just going to leave them here for now because we're going to be adjusting later. All right, construction lines off, circles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Very good. Press escape, dimension these things. All to be pip sizes. Which way do I want to go? Up here, I guess. Pip size. With the 6, it gives me better than I want it to be, but whatever. Making it work. And size. There we go. All right. My 6s are in there. Everything is constrained. Finish my sketch. I am going to extrude 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Distance, depth, taper angle. And there we go. It's looking good. Let's get the 1 in here. So I'm going to go with create a sketch right here. And just for the people that have been going crazy because I've not been using the midpoint of this line, I will do that for you this time. See the little blue triangle show up? Here we go. And here we go. I'm going to grab my center, or I'm going to turn my construction lines off. My center circle. Do this, and I am going to click. Yes, I do realize I could have typed it in right there. I do get that. Anyway, so this is going to be my pip size. So just the pip size, I'm going to make this one a little bit bigger. So I'm going to do this one times 1.5. If I hit the shift key, there you go, times 1.5. Make my 1 just a little bit bigger. Do that. All right. Finish the sketch. Don't forget to name these things. 1. There we go. I can do my extrude. Distance is depth. And my taper is taper angle. And there we go. All right, so I have my die built. Let's go ahead and put our edge fillet in, and then we're going to move some stuff around. So I'm going to come up here to fillet. I'm going to go and grab every one of these edges. When you're filleting edges that are connecting to each other or faces that are connecting to each other, it's best to do as many of these things you can in one run. So like I'm going to grab all of these in here because I know they're all the same number. But if I had different numbers, I'd come up here and just make multiple fillets all in the same run. Okay, so it looks like I have all 8 edges there, right? Or 12 edges, sorry. 4 top, 4 bottom, 4 around. Yes, all 12 are in there. And my fillet is going to be called edge fillet. That's what I put in there. And there it is. I can already tell I don't like this. It's a little bit sharper than what I want, so we're definitely going to fix that too. All right, so I don't need to see my sketches anymore. Let's go through and fix some stuff now. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fix this edge. I'm going to come up here to modify, and this is where parameters all of a sudden start taking this major strength. I'm going to shorten this thing a little bit so you can see this stuff happen. Here we go. Okay, so I am going to go find my edge fillet, which is right here. And instead of 20, let's make that 15. Let's see what that looks like. Ooh, much nicer. Did you see him change right there? I like 15. All right, so I'm happy with that. Next, I'm happy with the size of my pips. I'm not overly happy with all the locations. So yeah, especially that 4. I want to bring this in maybe a little bit. So let's take a look. I'm going to come over here. Since I named these things, like it's very easy to find. Side 4. I did these divided by 4. What if I did these divided by 3? You see how much that moved there? I'm not really happy with that either. So say 3.5. Let's see what that looks like. Ooh, I like that. Okay, so I'm going to change all this to 3.5. And you see these things moving around as I change them. 3.5 and 3.5. Yes, I'm real happy with that. All right, my 2, I think I'm going to end up using the exact same as that. So size 2, I'll just go 3.5. Yep, yes, I like this a lot. All right, 3.5. Very good, that looks good. My 2 looks good, my 4 looks good, my 6, I like this spacing, I don't like that spacing. So let's go find 6. It's probably going to be this one. I'm going to guess. I'm going to change it and see what happens. So make that 3.5. Yeah, see those move in? That right side moved in. See if the next one's the same. 3.5. There we go. And if I wanted to, I could even go through here and rename these here and be like, this is the, I'm going to call this 6. If I wanted to. I can name these things weird stuff, but I'm not going to. Leave it alone. D52. All right, so there we go. 6 looks good. 5 looks good. 3 looks good. 2 looks good. 1 looks good. I think I have them all. Very good. All right, so all of these are where I want them to be. I am now going to say OK. Or close this out. There we go. And I'm happy with my die. Let's go ahead and set this thing back to the home. There we go. Now, real quick, let's go ahead and I'm going to show you that this thing is working parametrically and come back to my parameters here. I'm going to change my 20 to a 50. And there we go. Everything is still where it belongs. This is exactly what I want. Let's change that back to 20. Or modify, change parameters. 20. Okay. And send this back home. There we go. Last thing we're going to do is we're going to add properties to this. We are going to color it so it looks like a black and white die. You can pick whatever colors you like. I'm just going to happen to go with black and white and be happy. So modify. I am going to first change the physical material. I'm going to 3D print this thing. And I have built into the system a couple different materials. This one here, I'm just going to come down here to plastic. There's ABS plastic, all sorts of fun stuff. I have built into this one here, CP plastic. I'm going to put it up here in my design and then come and drag it on top of my model. And there it is. Looking good. So this thing now has the properties of being a plastic piece. So if I ever want to look through all of that stuff, if I want to go and inspect the mass and everything like that, I can do that. I'd be happy. If I wanted to make sure this thing was properly weighted, I can be looking at my center of mass if I wanted to. But that is that. Let's close that. Now the pips. We want to turn these things white, so I'm going to come over here to appearance. And since I have a black die here, I'm going to make the pips white. So I'm going to paint this thing. We're going to make it glossy. And go with glossy white. I'm going to bring this up here into my design. Now, the easiest way I found to do this is if you come over here and start selecting the cones, hold down the Shift key as you do it. Don't get the edges, make sure you're getting the cones. And let's go through and select all these things. You can do this in multiple runs, it's fine. There it is. You can see sometimes it's a little difficult to get the cones. Just keep moving your mouse around until you get them. Okay, so I have the 6, 3, 4, 5. Well, yeah, it all looks good. All right, I'm going to come grab my white, drop it onto one of these cones. Make sure you're not getting the die, make sure you're getting the cones. And there they are. Let's see how this thing looks. 1, 5, 3, 4, 6, 2. Yep, we're looking good. I can close this. And there we go. So that is how you create your parametric die. Let's go ahead and save this thing. D6 done. With that, I'm going to make this thing a milestone and D6. 6. Same words, whatever. Fifth milestone. Woohoo, I'm happy. If I happen to put other dice on here, which I could do, I know at this point my D6 is done. And we are done. If you have any questions, please let me know.